The dog lives.
Oh, good.
Totally putting that on my spoilers. Dog.
So, you realize, okay, we have to at least finish this or come up to a satisfying conclusion in 13 episodes with the hopes that you can get more thoughts and love. But so how did you go about doing this? I mean, just...
There's certain story points we've always wanted to hit, or we know where the show was going to end, and some of those things will have to be pulled up because we don't know, obviously after 13 episodes what's going to happen. But you just know this, like every season finale that we write could be a series finale. Because because after the last one, my brother called me. He goes, "Why don't you just end it there? That was great." And I was like, "Yeah, that would be kind of cool." But we actually have more story to tell, and we're very excited. I think this could be our best season yet. We're kind of unfettered to a degree by the 22-23 episode thing, and you suddenly realize, oh my gosh, we have so much story. We have we started mapping out those serialized elements, and we realized how much we had. It just became a question of how are we going to condense this all into all these episodes? The numbers of the week, it's always been sort of the engine of the show to a degree, and it's not something we wanted to get away from. But if we have to, certain episodes, this year, we got to do it because there's a larger story here that we've always wanted to tell. Fortunately for us, current events seem to just keep clicking right in for us. So,
Well, the numbers of the week, is there any chance that would change because they're in such sort of dire straits right now, and it's like they need more help than they can give help, it seems like. So maybe that can the numbers could be
Absolutely. The number of the week in the finale was the machine itself, and you almost imagine the premiere is the same, with the addition of the fact that almost every one of our guys' numbers is up because they're just being hunted. And I think the real challenge for us going forward is how in the world do these guys survive in this world? How do they get back? How do they get the machine up and running again? All these questions, and then Fusco was smack in the middle of an assassination of two kingpins that he arrested. There's going to be a lot of questions for him, not only from the federal, the FBI, but internal affairs in terms of what actually went down that night. And I think that becomes a huge impetus for him to want to know more about what exactly is going on in this city right now. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Elias, please tell me what
it is. I'll have to wait and tune in and see. You look pretty dead to me.
There's so many sci-fi shows out there. I mean, is that daunting to you guys? You keep up with the competition. Do you watch a lot of other shows to see what it's out there?
There's a couple of interesting things in there. I think Mr. Robot looks like an interesting show. I want to keep up and see how that goes, if it can hang. I think the more difficult thing for us is having a science fiction element in broadcast. It's a little tougher than we imagined, but the thing Kevin just mentioned this at the other table, and I think it was true, is there's a certain amount of prejudice against broadcast shows in that regard, where people assume that there's not going to be a larger serialized narrative, there's not going to be a larger arc. Where's this show going? And coupled with the fact that there's a number of procedurals on our network, I think we've kind of got lumped in to a degree with that tag, and I don't people realize that the fans who would want to find this show may not know that it's on there, and then some of the people who would expect it to be in a CBS procedural are like, what is this? I can't follow it, because they've missed 90 episodes. So I think that's always been a bit of a marketing issue. We'd like to be able to pull in a new audience, and I think we have an opportunity this fall because we're going to be syndicated on WGN as well as Netflix streaming option. We don't have a premiere date yet. Maybe they push it back enough that gives some people a chance to catch up to the show who haven't seen it. And then by the time we air, it would be wonderful if our partners at CBS gave us a straight run through, where we didn't have any interruptions. I think all those things could really actually help our show.
Because they call it the golden age of television right now, but at the same time it must be that much harder for all the networks to try to capture people's attention because there's so much out there.
Yeah. And I have a theory that when people pay for a channel, if it's subscription based, they're more attentive, and there's also a veneer of there's a bit of a pass there sometimes that shows get, and I don't think you get that as much in broadcast. And I think now, particularly with younger people, my son in particular, it's like they're not going to watch anything unless their friends say, "Hey, do I need to be watching this?" And they're like, "Yeah, we'll wait till." And I think some people, what's interesting now is I'm starting to run into some of his friends who missed like the first 2-3 seasons, who are watching the show now because they're old enough and they realize, wait a minute, this is kind of cool. And I knew we had him when he asked me, he's like, what's going to happen next week? And I'm like, didn't hear that for the first 2 seasons. So, yeah, kind of cool.
What's it like being here at Comic-Con?
I think it's wonderful. I mean, I took the train down from LA, and it's right there on the coast. It's just beautiful, and I'm sitting there like, this is amazing that like you get to make television, take this train, Southern California, come down here to like waves of adoring fans, and I don't think this show ever feels more at home than when we're here. I really don't. Like our most ardent fans always come out, and it makes you feel good. I think it makes all our actors feel really good about the shows.
Visibility here is key.
Yeah, I'm bummed out I missed the Star Wars thing.
I did
the
too,
Warner.
man.
It's like, come on, JJ, hook me up.
So you try to like make you kept saying that the show keeps clicking when it comes to current events. Do you try to get like a ripped from the headlines kind of feel to it?
I think we were ahead of the headlines.
Yeah.
I think they ripped from us.
Yeah.
I wrote Law and Order. Well, that show ripped from the headlines. No, I see what you're saying, and I don't know if we've been lucky or prescient, but I think it's really interesting what's going down now. And it was initially a show about, to a degree, a commentary on the surveillance state. Snowden revelations came out. Everyone went, wait a second. Started talking more about artificial intelligence now. It's like Hawking and Elon are talking about this. You got billionaires debating it now. And then the thing with the market happened last week, and you're like, wait a second, what's going on? I just think like we all now haven't really taken note of how insidious algorithms have become in our lives. That a lot of these things are kind of inevitable. Increasing talks of roboticism, outsourcing, all these types of things. They're kind of baked into the concept of the show, and law enforcement, surveillance, all those things are coming to fruition. It just sort of seems logical, and we're there. Yeah, I just hope it's not the dystopian we all think. The dystopian view, but who knows? Who knows what's going to happen?
So, when you first started the show, did you initially conceive that the machine would evolve to almost like a person? Where he's going, Father, I failed you, that sort of... Or is that was one of the happy accidents as you were part of?
I think this is something we were really careful about in terms of anthropomorphizing the machine, because, there is a science fiction element to the show, but we've always wanted it to be grounded. And we felt, one of the reasons we hadn't given it much of a voice up to that point in time is that we wanted, I think the distance allows some credibility with people where it doesn't feel quite so intrusive. But if you've been with the show long enough, it was almost like you were longing for it. You wanted it. And in this moment, particularly if it were dying, and it was so startling watching Michael Emerson and the way he played that scene with a screen, and what he was able to do was amazing. And I think Harold Finch in that moment was confronted with, what would this be like, a world without my creation, my son, or whatever, And I think in that moment, Harold Finch had a shift in his own view towards it. And I think that's what we want to go further with this season. And it's always been a debate between Root and Harold in terms of her. She was always an acolyte of the machine. She wanted more. She wanted it open. She wanted it out there. And Harold was always, he crippled it initially. He didn't trust it. He made it a black box. And I think what's going to have to emerge, if they have any prayer against this other ASI, is things are going to have to change.
Will they have to work together to rebuild the machine now and try to put some of their differences aside?
I think their differences are what's going to really come out of the woodwork in rebuilding it. And I think you're going to see a little bit of a different Harold Finch emerge this year.
And it was also really great that you had that Pink Floyd scene.
Yeah. We got, when Joe and I initially talked about that song, we imagined that was the last song to play at the end of the show. And then we got to that episode, and we were just like, we have to use it here. We have to. And it was tough. We couldn't get clearance initially. And we just kept coming at Pink Floyd over and over. Because those guys don't talk or whatever. It's kind of tough. And finally we got it at a price we could afford, and we were so excited. And as we always say, it has to pass the chill test. Like, you cannot use a song on our show unless you get goosebumps. If you don't get goosebumps, you can't use it. That's the rule.
And I think your show is the best at doing that.
Thank you. You guys are great. Thank you so much.